Computer. All right, ready everyone?
Ready.
Yay.
I'm not ready. Hold on.
You were born ready.
Always ready. Stay ready.
Stay ready. You don't gotta
Clicking
get.
broadcast. In 3, 2, 1. Magandang umaga and welcome to Komunidad. My name is Maribendo Macalado and I am the president of the Filipino Bar Association of Northern California. I am a trial attorney at the Dolan Law Firm, and I represent workers in discrimination, harassment, retaliation, wrongful termination, and human trafficking cases, as well as victims who are injured through no fault of their own in personal injury cases. This morning, you will get to meet our current board of directors. You will also get to learn about FBANC's programs and events, as well as scholarship opportunities through the FBANC Foundation. You will also hear from a Pinay powerhouse, FBANC Trailblazer Award recipient in 2019, Ruthe Catolico Ashley. You will also have the opportunity to ask questions and network with the first Filipino-American judge in Contra Costa County, the Honorable Judge Benjamin Reyes II, during our breakout session at 11:45 a.m. After hearing from Judge Reyes, we will break out into smaller groups facilitated by current law students or recent graduates from the Bay Area Pals Coalition. Later this afternoon, you will hear from 5 amazing attorneys who will speak on what it's like working in small firms, big firms, in-house, public interest, and government. They will also share their experiences and tips finding a job during the recession. But first, let me share with you a little bit about FBANC and what FBANC means to me. FBANC was established in 1981, and it is an organization dedicated to serving the Philippine ex-American legal community in Northern California. We also provide a voice for and advocate on behalf of Philippine ex-American interests in various forms. For me and a lot of our members, FBANC is family. FBANC's principal founder, past president, and Trailblazer Award recipient, Raymond Campo Jr. said that he envisioned FBANC to provide a space where we can be our authentic selves, to take off our masks. I was 12 years old when I moved to the United States, and as an immigrant woman of color, FBANC truly has been a place where I can be myself. Growing up, I carried a lot of insecurity because I spoke with a Filipino accent, and even now as a trial attorney, I still get worried about pronouncing a word wrong in court or even during speaking engagements, just like I'm doing today. I was one of the handful Philippine ex-American law students at UC Hastings, and I am currently the only Filipino ex-American attorney at my firm. There have been a lot of times when I am the only API woman in a courtroom. So it's really easy to feel like you don't belong, that you don't deserve to be here, or that your voice doesn't matter because you come from a different background as the partner in your firm. When I joined FBANC as a law student 10 years ago, I was amazed by the members' sincere desire to help me succeed. So as the first person in my family to go to law school, I relied on my FBANC family to provide me mentorship and guidance to navigate law school. And even now during difficult moments in my career, for example, whenever I doubt myself or, figuring out what's the best way to react when opposing counsel thinks I'm the court reporter because someone like me couldn't be an attorney, right? So if you're new to FBANC, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or any of the board members that I will be introducing to you shortly. Beyond networking and mentorship, FBANC has provided me an opportunity to give back. Over the past 40 years, FBANC has been strong in providing support to the community. Earlier this year, we rallied within days after shelter in place to create a COVID-19 resource guide. We hosted webinars. We had a 2-month-long legal clinic to help members of our community file for unemployment benefits. And we awarded over $10,000 in COVID-19 relief stipends to law students. Before I introduce FBANC's board members, I want to thank FBANC's mentorship directors, Mary Beth Charvet and William Wallraven, as well as the Bay Area Pals Coalition, who worked really hard on putting this virtual Komunidad. So I'm so happy to introduce you to my fellow board members, beginning with FBANC's President-elect, Jennifer Santa Ana. Go ahead, Will.
My name is Jennifer Santa Ana. I'm currently the president-elect of the Filipino Bar Association of Northern California, where I've served on the board for 5 years. I'm a trial attorney at the U.S. Department of Labor, where I litigate to enforce laws hard fought by workers' rights movements in our country. I became an attorney as I've been deeply cognizant of the past and present exploitation of Filipino migrant workers in the U.S. and abroad, as, for example, farm workers, cannery workers, and domestic servants. I went to law school at the University of San Francisco School of Law to specifically study under Bill Ong-Hing, who is FBANC's most recent Jose Rizal Award recipient. Bill has committed his life to serve immigrant communities and has accomplished groundbreaking work in bettering the lives of Filipino immigrants. The best advice I can give to you is don't be afraid to connect to the FBANC network. We are committed to this organization in large part to support you and to help enrich the legal profession, which still greatly lacks in diversity. Be persistent in reaching out, as we tend to get consumed with work, but know we're here for you. You have 40 years of FBANC mentors at your fingertips. I know I wouldn't be where I am without the support of FBANC mentors like Bill Tamayo, who serves as District Director of the EEOC, Mark Peloton, who is the General Counsel of California's Labor and Work Development Agency, and the Chief Justice of the California Supreme Court, Chief Justice Tani Kentil-Sakayue. So please reach out, and best of luck to you in your legal studies.
Thanks so much, Jen, who is unfortunately not able to join us live today. Up next is Raymond Rowland, FBANC's Vice President.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Raymond Rowland. I am a trial attorney with the San Francisco City Attorney's Office, where I defend the city and county employees in civil lawsuits. As Maury said, I'm FBANC's Vice President, and I've served on the board for 5 years. I have been part of FBANC since I was a law student. I also attended the University of San Francisco School of Law, and because of the mentors I met there, they encouraged me to be more active with FBANC, and now I'm here. I also serve on other organizations as the LGBT committee co-chairs for the Asian American Bar Association of Northern California, the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association, and the National Filipino American Lawyers Association. The reason why I went to law school was because I didn't see a lot of lawyers that looked like me when I was growing up. I actually did not meet a lawyer until I was in law school. So I wanted to be a part of that community, and I wanted to serve as an inspiration for others as well. My advice for law students and incoming law students is really to enjoy the process, enjoy law school, enjoy meeting your peers, and really invest in the relationships that you make during law school, and celebrate your communities, your peers and your professors, and all of the people that you meet in that process. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ray. Next is Angelica Zabanel. She is joining us from Hawaii, so she is not live, but go ahead, Will.
Hi everyone, it's Angelica Zabanal once again. I am currently the Treasurer and Women's Committee Co-Chair, and I wanted to share a little bit about what the Women's Committee does. The Women's Committee hosts a lot of events that are meant to be supportive of our women and women identifying members of FBANC. We have an annual women's tea that is hosted by one of our advisory members, Ruthe Ashley, where we are able to come around and provide each other with support and love and encouragement. We also host quarterly events, which are usually comprised of happy hours as well as lunches that are hosted at a variety of law firms around the Bay Area. So for example, we've had lunches hosted by Vanessa Candelaria at her offices in the East Bay. Dwayne Morris, most recently, my firm, hosted the Spring luncheon in San Francisco. And we've also had a few occasions to have some women's lunches down in the peninsula. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's also such a great group. It's a supportive environment once again, and a wonderful resource for our women and women identifying members. So if you come and join FBANC, join the Women's Committee. We'd be happy to have you. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to let me or any of the other co-chairs know. This year, our other co-chair is Vanessa Leonardo. Thanks so much. Bye.
We'll go ahead and also play her intro. I think you played the Women's Committee one.
Hi everyone, my name is Angelica Zabanal, and I am the Treasurer and Women's Committee Co-Chair of the Filipino Bar Association of Northern California. I have been on the board for 3 years, and I also served as a Women's Committee Co-Chair for a year prior to that. I'm currently in my 6th year as an associate at the Duane Morris, San Francisco, and Silicon Valley offices, and my primary areas of practice are litigation and privacy. I am a 2009 graduate of Stanford University, and so for those of you who are currently feeling some trepidation or fear about graduating during the pandemic or in the future, I'm here to tell you that everything is going to be okay, I promise. I also graduated from the University of Hawaii William S. Richardson School of Law in 2014, and my primary reason, honestly, and my inspiration for going to law school started from my father, who was a solo practitioner in Hawaii, and from my mother, who was his paralegal and secretary. Together, I saw the both of them doing a lot of amazing work and giving back to the community and helping their clients. And I strive and want to do the same. My practice area allows me to learn and be cerebrally engaged and intellectually challenged. However, my practice area also allows me to represent, and representation in the legal profession is really important to me. I realize that there are, and you will too, that when you join the private sector, there isn't as much representation as one would think there would be up in the partnership ranks. And when you end up in-house, we need more general counsel out there who are BIPOC. And so my goal and my passion in the work that I do is really representation. And I'm here to be a resource for all of you and to answer any questions that you may have about big law and privacy practice and profession in the big law sector. So I'm so happy to meet you all, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, Angelica. Up next is our Foundation Treasurer, Antonio Raimondo.
Good morning. I'm Antonio Raimondo. I'm an in-house lawyer at Lyft Inc. That means I'm an attorney who works in the internal legal department at Lyft. My title is Counsel, Employment, and Litigation, and I work on employment litigation. So my role is FBANC Foundation Treasurer at FBANC. I've been involved with FBANC since 2018. From 2013 to 2015, I was on the board of a different Filipino bar organization called the Philippine American Bar Association. It's in Los Angeles. It's like FBANC, but in Southern California. And some advice for the law students, kind of like Ray, I think the main advice I'd give you is to try to enjoy law school. I really enjoyed law school. I know it's not a fun time the entire time you're in law school, and I know it's not a fun time for everyone, but it can be really great. And my other advice for law students is relating to networking. So networking is not something I really understood, I think, when I was in law school. And it's kind of hard to imagine, I think, at that point, looking forward into the future. about what networking kind of means. But I think the advice I could give you is just try to be helpful and nice and get involved, you know, in the community, and be nice to the people you meet while you're in school. So starting in law school and continuing forward into your career as attorneys, you're going to make friends and acquaintances in your classes, your student groups, your law journals, bar organizations like FBANC, with your teachers, in your summer jobs, in your internships, and then later on in your careers after law school. And that group of connections and those people you meet are going to become your professional network, even without you trying. So it's really helpful for you to think about this if you're thinking about how, you know, what you can do to help that network in the future to become useful for you. I would say just try to be nice and helpful to people as you go along, because that will pay forward, that will pay back to you in the future in your career. Why I became an attorney is that I love writing. So when I was in my 20s, I kind of wanted to find a career path where I could write for a living, and talking to some of my friends who had been in law school and talking to people who had worked as attorneys, it seemed that being a lawyer was something I could do and write for a living, and it's worked out that way for me. And lastly, I'm supposed to tell you something interesting about myself. So I play drums and guitar and bass in my spare time, and so I've been recording some music at home during quarantine. And that's my intro. So now I'll throw to whoever's next. I don't know who it is, Mari.
Thanks, Antonio. Even I'm learning something new about you today. Up next is Janice, one of our professional development directors.
Hi, everyone. I'm Janice Reicher, and I am co-director of the Professional Development Committee for FBANC, and this is my second year on the board. I'm an attorney at the law firm of Farella, Braun and Martel in San Francisco, and also the co-chair of our white-collar criminal defense and corporate internal investigations practice group. My practice focuses on defending individuals and companies in criminal and civil prosecutions and regulatory enforcement matters, and also conducting internal investigations. Some of my recent work includes defending individuals against charges of trade secret theft in federal court. I've also had a lot of experience in defending clients in antitrust and price fixing probes. I really love my work. I find it very interesting, and I really enjoy working with individuals as well, and helping protect their rights. But like others on this panel, I think that a big reason I came to law school and the practice of law was because you know, I'm first generation American, family immigrated from the Philippines, and I felt a distinct disadvantage coming here and not being part of this group of people who understood the law and could use it to protect myself and my family. So I didn't know any lawyers growing up either, and I wanted to have that experience and extra power. And I thought that would be a great way to have a foundation for any career that I would go into. And I've always loved writing and research and oral advocacy, so it all seemed to make sense, thankfully. Something personal about me, I have a 2-year-old daughter, 2.5-year-old daughter now, who is the best entertainment during quarantine. She's so much fun, and always surprises me every day with the things that come out of her mouth, where I have no idea where she learned them from. Thanks so much for coming today. I'm excited for all of you.
Thanks so much, Janice. Up next is Isabel Tan, our membership director. Go ahead, Will.
Good morning, Komunidad. My name is Isabel Tan, and I am your current membership director for this year's board, and I'm also a practicing attorney. I do personal injury law in a small boutique firm in San Francisco that does both personal injury and employment law, plaintiff side. I've been involved with FBANC since 2015 when the current president, Mari Bandoma Calado, asked me to join. And it has been a really, really fun ride since. Now, I did go to law school in Southern California, so I was also a member of PABA there. I am also a member of the San Francisco Trial Lawyers Association, the Consumer Attorneys of California, and the Asian American Bar Association. Now, this goes hand in hand with my advice to law students. And I think it's really important to be a member of bar associations that you identify with, whether it's in your practice area so you can learn, continue learning, and also ask questions and get great mentors, but also with a bar association that you identify with as like FBANC. Now, why I became an attorney. Did you guys never get that thing with your parents, you know, when they ask you when you grow up, do you want to be a lawyer or a doctor? Come on. Well, I picked lawyer because I didn't want to see the insides of people. But honestly, I wanted to become an attorney because I wanted to help people. We all have some sort of immigrant background, and I saw some people, you know, including my family, get taken advantage of. And that was something that I really didn't want to happen to people just because they didn't know any better. And so that was my drive when I went into law school. Another piece of advice for law students is that, you know, keep an open mind. A lot of you go to law school thinking you know exactly what type of attorney you want to be. But life throws you curveballs, and you could end up in a field that you didn't know you were going to love. So keep an open mind. Enjoy being a student. Learn everything you can at this point.
Thanks, Isabel. Up next is one of our mentorship directors, Maribeth Charvet.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maribeth. You all received an email from me inviting you to today's event, so thank you for joining. I am a corporate associate at Chartis Freeze, a mid-sized law firm in San Francisco. I mostly do mergers and acquisitions, corporate governance, so working on board meetings, charters, bylaws, document retention policies, all the nuts and bolts behind making companies work on the legal side, along with a pro bono practice where I do a lot of immigration and asylum work, along with employment discrimination, and working with veterans to make sure that they get their proper benefits from the Veterans Affairs. My role on the board is I'm the mentorship co-director with Will. This is my second year on the FBANC board. Prior to joining FBANC, I was actually a member of FALA New York because I started my career doing big law in New York City before I was brought back to the Bay. And my advice for law students would be, like others have said, keep an open mind, and also don't just make your decisions off of specific needs. So don't choose your career just because of money. Don't choose a job that you don't think that you would enjoy, a job that you don't want to work those hours for and make certain sacrifices for just so that you can get paid. Coming from the immigrant background, you know, we understand that things aren't handed to us. We have to work hard for them, and sometimes we have to make sacrifices, but still make sure that you're making your decisions for you, for what you want, and what will make you happy. And that's partly why I became an attorney. So my mom had a negative experience with an attorney. She was taken advantage of, and I wanted to make sure I could read and understand the law so that that wouldn't happen again. But I was also really inspired by the civil rights movement and seeing how, you know, we were able to change our society and able to change our world through lawsuits, through using lawyers, through legal means. And I think that that's really powerful. And that's why I decided to go to law school. And something interesting about me is I'm a double bear. So I went to Berkeley for undergrad and Berkeley for law school. So if anyone is coming from those schools, say hi. And I will pass it off to Will.
Thanks, Mary Beth. Go Bears. Go ahead, Will.
Hi, everyone. My name is William Wallraven. I am the owner and founding attorney of the law offices of William Wallraven. I practice primarily in the DUI defense and also select criminal defense matters all throughout the Bay Area. Prior to practicing criminal defense, I practiced civil litigation for a number of years before making that transition. So if there are any law students that are thinking about, or as you become attorneys and as you kind of hit, obstacles or road bumps in your path, please feel free to reach out if you're looking at transitioning. I am, along with Maribeth, a mentorship co-director. I've been on the board for 3 years. The prior 2 years, I served as a social director. Other law organizations that I'm a member of include the California DUI Lawyers Association, the National College of DUI Defense, the Asian American Bar Association, and the Alameda County Bar Association. Again, my advice for law students is, really think about, yourself. How do you want to practice? Being authentic as a person and as an attorney, making sure that you keep your integrity. I think as you'll become attorneys, you'll be put in situations where maybe a supervisor or senior attorney could ask you to do something that is questionable, and you really need to think about whether or not that's appropriate for you to do, because once you get a reputation, it'll stay with you, and it could prevent you from opportunities in the future. And it's something that I would encourage you to think about. Why I became an attorney, it's very personal for me. My mom, she was sick and unfortunately not able to be a big part of my life. But one thing I do remember about her is that she did encourage me for education and to become an attorney. And that's something that I hold dear to my heart. Something interesting about me is I like to garden. So that's something I do to kind of relieve the stress in the day-to-day monotony. And with that, I will pass it on to Lynette.
Oh, I was on mute, sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is Lynette. Thanks, Will, for passing this along. I am FBANC's Legal Clinics Director with Erica, who you will meet. This is my 3rd year as a board member and as Legal Clinics Director. I'm very passionate about what FBANC does and what we do for the community. So I'm happy to join the board again. I am also a staff attorney at the AIDS Legal Referral Panel. I went to Golden Gate University and graduated, 2016, so it's been a while now. I went to law school because I wanted to make a difference in the world and to help specifically marginalized communities, and I get to do exactly that at ALRP, working at AIDS Legal Referral Panel, helping people living with HIV and AIDS in the Bay Area. And also as FBANC Legal Clinics Director, we get to bring legal clinics directly to the Filipino community, which is so great. Advice for law students, I would say enjoy your time in law school. Definitely get to know FBANC members, law student members, attorney members, because these will be connections that you will have throughout your career after law school. And it's a great way to start your legal profession, to have a good community here at FBANC. Thank you for listening, and I'm excited to meet you all. Erica, you're next.
Hey everyone, my name's Erica Galleon. I am a public defender at the Merced Public Defender's Office. I represent indigent clients in Merced's West Side area. So my practice area involves misdemeanor crimes, felony crimes. I do some juvenile cases here and there. It's a small office, so I pretty much do a lot for the office. That includes going to trial as well. I have been on the board, well, this is my 1st year on the board. So I am learning how everything goes. I've been involved with volunteering with FBANC since I was in law school, since my 1L year. Honestly, FBANC was how I figured out how to get into the position that I am today. I am the first lawyer in my family, so I had no idea how law school even worked. And so I reached out to Vanessa Candelaria, and I mean, the rest is history. I became involved, got involved with PALS, got involved with FBANC, volunteered, and I figured out I wanted to become a public defender from all this networking. Other organizations I am involved with, I'm also involved with the Asian American Criminal Trial Lawyers Association. I'm a member there. Advice for law students: don't be afraid to take risks. I know risks are scary, risks are uncomfortable, but sometimes you just got to do it. And that's how you grow, that's how you learn, that's how you become a better person, and you understand what you want to do overall. I became an attorney because I wanted to stand up against injustice. There are a lot of people that are poorly represented, and I wanted to be a lawyer to adequately and zealously advocate for them. Something interesting about me, well, actually, my mom and my grandma, they're very genderly. But when I applied for law school, they actually discouraged me from applying for law school altogether. They told me to become a nurse because I have a family of nurses, or a teacher. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for law school. So I did it. I got in, I graduated, and here I am today as a public defender. If you have any questions or want to volunteer with the legal clinics department, feel free to reach out to either Lynette or I, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. And now we have James's video.
Yeah, go ahead, Will.
Hi everyone, my name is James Villanueva, and I am in my second year on the FBANC Board, and this year I am serving as the Social Committee Co-Director. I've been involved with FBANC now for a little over 2 years since I moved to the Bay Area. I am also the membership chair for the Asian American Bar Association of the Greater Bay Area. Both of these organizations are great ways for law students to get involved early on and network with other Filipino and Asian attorneys in the community. Professionally, I am legal counsel for Handle Financial Inc., a payment processing financial tech company based out of Santa Clara. We have 3 attorneys on our legal team, so we each wear a few different hats. My day-to-day work includes contract reviewing, drafting, and negotiating, as well as managing our patent and trademark portfolio, coordinating with outside counsel, managing the company's privacy practice, and other additional ancillary roles like helping out with product and HR, etc. So I took a slightly different path in undergrad to becoming an attorney. I have a degree in biomedical engineering, and I was planning to become a doctor. But once I realized that organic chemistry wasn't really for me, I sought other ways to put my degree to use, and a mentor of mine suggested that I look into becoming a patent attorney. My advice for law students would be to find ways so that you can make sure you don't get too stressed throughout law school. Try not to put all your hobbies aside and set some time in your schedule to wind down. Thanks, and I apologize for not being able to participate live. I hope you all have a great conference.
Thank you, James. Next is Jarrell. You're still on mute, Jarrell.
Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. My name is Jarrell Agatep, and I'm the Social Co-Director of FBANC with James Villanueva. This is my second year on the board, but I've been an active member since I started in law school at the University of California, Hastings. I'm also an active member of the Asian American Bar Association of Greater Bay Area and the Asian Pacific American Bar Association of Silicon Valley. I'm currently an associate at Jackson Lewis. My practice focuses on representing employers in workplace law matters, including preventive advice and counseling. I'm also a certified privacy professional and currently assist businesses in overall compliance with data and security protection laws, including GDPR and CCPA. My advice to law students is to start, joining bar associations, including FBANC, and do not be afraid to network with us, with the board, and everyone. You might think that you're bugging us and that we may not respond quickly to your emails, but just be persistent. Everyone has working caseloads, but I was just at your position not quite long ago, and I can tell you that networking is the key to this profession. I cannot count how many times my FBANC family helped me in my career throughout law school and even at my current job at Jackson Lewis. Shout out to Angel Sevilla and Antonio Raimondo, who was actually an associate at Jackson Lewis before I came in. Why I became a lawyer? I immigrated to the US when I was 16 years old, and my first job was actually as a dishwasher at a Filipino restaurant. And I was paid under the table. Back then in 2004, I think the minimum was $7 an hour, but I was only getting paid like $3 because they said, "What are you gonna do? We'll give you the immigration." But I was legally here. I just didn't have a work permit. I didn't care back then just because it was extra dollar in my pocket and my parents were paying for my like living expenses and all that. But going to law school, I realized, hey, something was wrong there. And then I was able to work at the Legal Aid Society and met someone there that had practiced immigration and employment law together, and said like, hey, even if you're an illegal immigrant, you have workers' rights. So that's the entire premise of why I wanted to do do employment law. But I've been fortunate enough to go to Jackson Lewis from the employer side, but I think now that I have private clients in the hospitality and restaurant industry, I've had the power to actually do prevention and counseling for the same exact reasons of why I started going to law school, and protect the rights of the people that I was 6 years ago, or actually 15 years ago. So my goal here with FBANC is to get more of us in private practice and be part of the boardroom and be partners in our own rights. Something personal about me, I just picked up golf. So if someone wants to correct my swing and network with me at the fairway or driving range, please email me. Thank you.
And last but not the least, we have FBANC's Secretary Nelson.
Hi, morning everyone. My name is Nelson Pineda Lamb. I am the secretary for the Filipino Bar Association, and I've been on the FBANC board for 4 years now, but really got involved with FBANC as early as when I was a second year in law school. And I am currently working at Uber. I am their employment legal counsel, advising on employee side issues. They have about 25,000 employees globally, and so there's, as you can imagine, a lot of employment fund that we have, not just in the driver's side as well. So I graduated in 2015 from UC Hastings, and the reason that I went to law school, let's see, if I'm being completely candid, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my career coming out of college, and going to law school was a way to sort of prolong the decision of what I wanted to do with my career. And I felt that going to law school, there's just so many different opportunities and career paths that you can explore, and it gives you a license to do a lot of different things. And I think it's a testament just hearing all the different panelists here describing their careers and the variety and diversity even within our community here, which is great. And so I still think that going to law school provides you that platform to do whatever you really want to do with your life. So a couple words of advice for law students now. I would say, one, start building your network now, today. When you go into law school, even just as a law student, the friendships and relationships that you make matter, and they matter going forward in your career. They matter going forward personally. Some of you will meet your your significant others here at, or some of your best friends at law school, or who knows where life takes you through these kind of connections that you make. But it's important to kind of be aware, self-aware that, your personal reputation and how you carry yourself does make a difference going forward. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten requests for referrals or recommendations from, various people from my my class at Hastings or from other places that I know, and how I feel and how I know that person, it makes a difference what kind of referral or what kind of, recommendation I give. So just be aware that it's important to be a good person and not just a good law student. So, and also that applies to FBANC. I think it's important to remember that we're all here voluntarily. No one's paying us to do this. This is not, we don't get any extra credit for being, on FBANC. I mean, it's nice to share with, my community and tell people that I'm a part of it, but frankly, it doesn't it's not, my point is that we're here because we want to help. We're here because we feel that we want to give back to the community, and we know that the value that what we add by being sources of experience and knowledge and able to pass that on to the next generation. For me, when I was in law school, it was so invaluable to have these mentors and friends on the FBANC board to help guide and advise along the way, because I never had anybody in my from my immediate family or from my even extended family that went to law school. And so seeing people that looked like me and came from similar backgrounds in this profession and people I could go to for candid advice, made all the difference. And so I really encourage you to make real connections with people on, from whichever board, bar association that you think, matches where your interests lie, because that kind of stuff makes a difference. And second word of advice is be open to trying something new. Like I said, I had no idea what career I really wanted to take when I came into law school. Even as a summer associate at my firm that I went to, I didn't even do any employment law. I didn't do employment law until I got to my firm. And then the first day they told me, oh, your mentor is this employment partner. I was like, sure, I'll do it. Why not? And I didn't have, necessarily preconceived notions of what my career needed to be or where I needed to go. And I sort of rolled with the punches, and whatever came my way, I was, made sure I came with a positive attitude and willingness to learn. And that's something that all attorneys, no matter what practice you are in, have to have, because the law constantly changes. You're always going to be researching and learning something new. Even if you've already done something once, you're probably going to do it again. It's probably going to be different. So be open and willing to, try new things. And ultimately the career you end up having may not be the one that you think you'll have at this moment, or you may not even know what you want, but I think it's just come in with a positive attitude, and you'll get out what you put in. So those are my, couple words of advice for everyone here. I'll pass it back off to Mari. Yeah.
Thanks, Nelson, and thank you everyone for being with us this morning. One of the things that law students told us after our in-person Komunidad in February this year, which Raymond Rowland put together, was that, it's a little bit intimidating to speak to attorneys, or that they don't really know what FBANC is about, or what kind of things they can join to participate. So today we are highlighting a few of the committees that we think make sense for law students to join. First up, I want Jarrell to kind of just share some of our traditional social activities before shelter in place, and also talk about future plans to engage law student members and just members in general virtually this year.
Yeah, thanks, Mari. Before COVID hit, we typically have like a first welcome party and have everyone get together. We all usually, last year when Will was the social director, we had like a lechon, and we went to Oakland to do a picnic, and that was amazing. And unfortunately we can do this year. And then we do Christmas holidays with everyone as well in December, and we typically have like a cook-off. Sometimes it's adobo. Some of the participants would bring their home cooked adobo. And for this year, our initial plan is to do a Zoom karaoke for the fall, as well as a Zoom golf. Me and James play a lot of golf, so we're doing a Zoom driving range golf for spring, just because we will plan a golf last spring that we weren't able to do. And that's what we have for now for the upcoming year.
And just make sure that you subscribe to our newsletter and also watch out our social media posts as well, and our website for upcoming events related to social activities. Up next, Lynette and Erica, can you just share our usual legal clinics and expand on future virtual clinics?
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Okay. So we are FBANC's legal clinics directors. The purpose of the legal clinics with FBANC is we specifically provide legal services directly to the community. We tend to partner with other nonprofit organizations, like grassroots organizations through the Filipino community, so that we can better reach those who need legal help. And so what we do is we connect members, attorneys, and law students with volunteers to volunteer at our legal clinics. And in the past, and in what we're working on right now, is we're gearing our legal clinics towards a diverse area of law, like immigration, employment, workers' rights, estate planning, and family. And that's just to name a few legal areas. But because of COVID-19 limitations, we will be planning more virtual clinics online. So how that will work is we'll connect clients with FBANC member volunteers virtually, whether it's like by making appointments over the phone or online, like Zoom or whatever. So please stay tuned, look out for our emails. These are great volunteer opportunities for law students. It's a great way to get connected to the community and do some good work for those who need legal help but can't necessarily afford a lawyer. And also keep in mind, we're not technically representing clients, but we're representing them like on a limited scope. So we can provide them with a brief legal consultation. We can, direct them to maybe an organization that can provide more in-depth legal services. Or sometimes maybe somebody walks into our clinics or calls the clinic just wanting direction, just wanting legal advice. Maybe this is like their first contact speaking with an attorney, and they just don't know what to do. Like maybe it's a family law issue and they want to file for divorce or file for a restraining order, and they just want to know what the first step is and what the process looks like. So this is a great opportunity for law students to get connected with the community and do some issue spotting and intakes, and try to figure out quickly what the need is when you're speaking directly to clients.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add, Erica?
Yeah, I mean, going off of that, like if you don't know what you want to do in law school, involving yourself with legal clinics and volunteering is a great way to figure out what you want to do. Figure out what practice area you may be interested in. With FBANC, we'll be providing you with training before we go out and start volunteering. So you'll have at least some sort of foot in the door in terms of learning how to issue spot and everything. And we'll provide you with those materials in case, you're a little afraid to get involved. But it is a really great opportunity when I was a law student, I participated in these legal clinics, and it helped me figure out what I really wanted to do. You're exposed to so many different areas of law, and there's so many different types of attorneys that get involved and volunteer their time. And you get, not only is it a networking opportunity, but it's an opportunity to literally get in the field and figure out exactly, what demographic you'll be working with, figure out what areas of law you may want to practice, and to give back to the community. It's actually really rewarding work. And if you have any questions, feel free to both Lynette and I. We're so open to any questions. And we'll keep you posted on any upcoming clinics. Keep us posted. Let us know. We're open.
Thank you, Legal Clinics. Next is Isabel on video again, who's going to be talking about our membership drive. Will, you're still on mute, so we can't hear Isabel. Thanks.
Students, I have a message as your membership director, and that is that we are having our membership drive until August 31st. Now, this is a really, really good deal, especially for you students. For practicing attorneys, the rate for being a member this year is $40, which is normally $65. Now, for students, it's only $4 instead of $25. Then for current non-practicing attorneys, it's $10, and then for paraprofessionals, it's also $10. Now, there's a lot of great things that you can get from being a member of FBANC as a student, but most especially, it gives you access to scholarships, mentorships, and socials, even virtual this time of year. Not this time of year, but this time of, I guess, pandemic. Yes, in any case, I wanted to wish everyone good luck, and please reach out to me. I'm gonna see if I can be tech savvy and put my email down there where my finger is pointing. And if not, you can reach me at Isabel it's Isabel Tan at fbank.org. Thanks, bye.
Thank you, Isabel. Natalie Garcia-Lashinsky, she is another one of our professional development co-chairs, is not here with us today, but Nelson Lamb will be speaking about our in-house committee, which Natalie also co-chairs.
Hi guys, again. So FBANC has an in-house committee, and just to kind of take a step back, and some of you may not know exactly what in-house committee means or working in-house means, but a lot of attorneys work at firms or for the public sector or different employers. The working in-house means you're working at a company, and you're an internal advisor at the company and one of their councils that oversees everything that they're doing, or different aspects of what they're doing. And it's quite a different practice, frankly, than working at a firm, and just the way that you approach issues and problem solve. You have to kind of be geared a little bit more towards the business side and understanding their appetite for pushing forward their initiatives, and how to sort of combine that with the legal compliance aspect of it. And it's great that we, FBANC recently, as a few years ago, were able to establish an in-house committee that is really catered towards this practice of law and establishing networks and connections on this side of the house. And quarterly we have luncheons that we gather, and during non-COVID times, usually at someone's office, and get to see a cool office for a different company, and just to connect and get to know each other and know the community that we're developing within our FBANC world of in-house attorneys. And yeah, if people are interested in looking at in-house careers or exploring those, I encourage you to reach out to myself or Natalie just to get the invite for our next luncheon. So
thank you, in-house committee. You already heard from Angelica, who is one of our women's committee co-chairs. We do have that afternoon tea coming up. I think it's in September. It's on our website. So we're going to go ahead and go to Ray to talk about our LGBTQ network.
Hello again. So FBANC established its LGBTQ committee in 2015, and I'm proud to say that it's one of 2 LGBT committee networks among the Asian bar associations in the Bay Area. With that said, that committee endeavors to really bridge and make connections with other bar associations like the Bay Area Lawyers for Individual Freedom, where we typically host events where our members can explore and celebrate their intersectional identities as queer lawyers, as queer Asian lawyers, or whatever those identities may be. So we are working with ABA, the Asian American Bar Association of Northern California, to figure out programming for the upcoming year. So if you'd like to be involved in that, let me know. It should be fun and exciting.
Thanks, Ray. Now we're going to talk about our mentorship programs.
Hi, everyone. So mentorship really focuses on supporting the students, all of you. One of the ways we do that is hosting events like today's Komunidad. Another way is by fostering the mentorship relationship between the law students and the practicing attorneys that are a part of FBANC. So usually during non-COVID times, we would host a couple of dinners where everyone gets to get together and the mentees get to meet up with their mentors, do some activities, get to learn who all the other mentees and all the other mentors are. And then throughout the year, we encourage the mentorship pairings to meet on their own and really, network with one another and build a relationship with one another. Since a lot of things are going to be virtual this year, we'll probably do a virtual version of the dinner and still encourage the mentors to reach out to the mentees and vice versa. You all can either do virtual events like going to the FBANC events together. You can do your own virtual karaoke or virtual golf or what have you. Or one of the things that we described in the email for today is there is a tango class that is very generously being sponsored by FBANC and some of our members. So if you're interested in trying out beginner's tango, you can do that with your mentor, and we will reimburse you for that. So that's another kind of activity you can do. And it's just a way where you can be very candid, open, honest, ask all the questions that you think are too dumb and you don't know who to ask. There's no such thing. Ask your mentor, ask them for advice. It can be law school related. It can be about your job. It could be about how do I deal with my parents always asking me for legal advice and I don't know anything yet. It's really what you make of it. Will, do you have anything to add?
Yes, and Maribeth and I are available in case you need us to follow up with the mentors or if you have any questions. But just stay tuned and just remember that a lot of the board members were once law students like you that became involved in FBANC and now are involved with the board. We have 30, almost 40 years of institutional experience, and the elders are still very actively involved in FBANC as well. And so I encourage you to attend the mentorship events and keep an eye out for these events. And Mario, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, mentorship. And now for the most exciting part, scholarships.
Thanks, Mari. I'm Antonio Raimondo. I'm the treasurer of the FBANC Foundation, and I'll offer you guys some thoughts about the foundation, what it is, what the scholarships are, and who we help. So first, what is the FBANC Foundation? So when we talk about FBANC, there are actually 2 organizations. One of these is called the Filipino Bar Association of Northern California, and that's a nonprofit organization. The other is called the FBANC Foundation, which is also a nonprofit, but in addition to being a nonprofit, it's also a charitable educational organization. The foundation's overall mission is to raise funds for scholarships and to support our community of Philam law students through these scholarships. And so here are some of the scholarships we've awarded in the past. So one of them is the Raymond Campo Jr. Family Scholarship. in recent years, that's been in the amount of $10,000. It's funded by the generosity of Ray Campo and his family. Ray is one of the pillars of our Philam legal community, and he founded FBANC. The scholarship is awarded in memory of his parents and in honor of immigrants like them for the sacrifices they made and the hardships they endured in search of a better life for their families. Another scholarship we offer is the Honorable Ronald Kidache Scholarship, most recently in the amount of $5,000. And this scholarship commemorates Judge Ron Kidache's tenure as the first Filipino-American to sit on the bench in Northern California. The scholarship's awarded for a law student who has shown a strong commitment to the Filipino-American legal community inside and outside law school. Other scholarships we have awarded in recent years include the FBANC Foundation Legal Scholarship in the amount of $5,000 and the FBANC Charles and Melita Jung Charitable Fund Trust Fund Scholarship in the amount of $3,000. That's a scholarship that's made possible by the generosity of Charles Jung and Melita Jung, and it's usually awarded to a law student who has shown a commitment and desire to pursue public interest, public sector law. So those are some of the examples of scholarships we've put together in recent years. So next, I'll tell you about how to apply. So scholarships are generally awarded by FBANC, by the FBANC Foundation in June. And that's because in June, we have an annual gala called the FBANC Installation Dinner. It's our primary fundraising event, and it's a big fun party we hold every year in June. This year was a little different. We did it online because of the pandemic, but you know, for many, many years, every June we put together a big party. Hundreds of people attend. We have speakers. It's really fun. And so hopefully next June we'll have that party again. And for scholarships, that's important because that's when we award the scholarships. Scholarship applications are due a couple months before that. So for law students, what you need to be aware of is in the spring, at some point, FBANC will post on the website and start publicizing the scholarship application instructions, which will explain to you how to apply. So basically in like March or April, you should start trying to pay attention, and we'll try to reach out to you and ask you to apply for scholarships. The application process is pretty straightforward. Resume, personal statement, that sort of thing. So in the spring, please keep your eyes open and please apply. We love hearing from the law students and reviewing your applications. So third, who are the people the foundation helps? Well, in short, it's you, the law students. So I'm going to give you some examples. And the point of these examples is to sort of tell you about some of the people who've come before and sort of where they ended up today, to sort of give you an idea. Because, you know, I remember being a law student at the beginning of law school. It was kind of hard to imagine what would be happening in the future. And so maybe these examples can give you some idea of different paths that, you know, have happened for people in our community in the past and how that intersected with our scholarships. So in 2007, the winner of the FBANC Foundation Legal Scholarship was Abby Rivamonte. So Abby was a law student at the time. She went on to become a deputy public defender in San Francisco. She also served as the president of FBANC. And today she is the chief of staff of one of the city council members in San Francisco. Another great example is in 2009. In 2009, the winner of the FBANC Foundation Legal Scholarship was Joanne Villanueva. She was a law student at UC Berkeley at the time. And then later on in her career, she's done a variety of different really interesting things. So she went on to become a law clerk in the immigration courts in Los Angeles. For many years, she was a lawyer at a large elite law firm called Latham & Watkins. And today, for several years running, she has been in charge of the diversity and inclusion program at another elite law firm called Munger, Tolson, Olson. So she's another great example of scholarship winners associated with FBANC. And third example I'll give you is Laurie Lubiano, who a lot of you will meet, I think, later today as part of the program. So Laurie was the winner of the Raymond Campo Junior Family Scholarship in 2006. At the time, she was a law student at the University of the Pacific, and she's gone on to have an amazing career. She is currently an in-house lawyer, and she's a IP and product counsel at the Climate Corporation. And she's a board member at the Medical Board of California, which is part of the governing board for physicians in the state. So those are some examples of foundation scholarship winners. Hopefully they can give you guys some idea about about, you know, the future for what you guys are planning. And we can't wait to see the future that you guys are going to build as part of our community. So with that, I'll throw it back to Mari.
Thank you, Antonio. And now we have some time for some question and answers. And I see that Danielle asked us a question. One question is related to how does immigration overlap with the law that you practice. So I'll get started with that one. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a workers' rights attorney, and immigration definitely plays a role. I represent some clients who are undocumented. So oftentimes I will consult with an immigration lawyer to make sure that I'm not stepping on their toes with regards to any immigration issues. I'm sure other folks on the board also have an answer related to that. I think Nelson wanted to chime in.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I was actually typing it out and I didn't realize we were going to do a Q&A session live. So yeah, I work again at Uber and on the employment side of the company, and immigration definitely does impact what we do. You know, as an employer, we strive to bring in the best talent, and oftentimes the best talent doesn't necessarily come just from the United States. And so we have a relatively large portion of our employees that are on work visas or on you know, different type of arrangements, and the decisions that the administration, you know, makes, and the different, you know, visa eligibility rights that happen, that has a ton of downstream impacts on the way that our employee workforce looks like, and you know, and how we have to comply. And it's you know, in an interesting area that we definitely have immigration counsel that we work with, because there's this special, you know, niche that comes along with it. But it certainly does impact, you know, how us as employment attorneys go about our day-to-day jobs, and make sure that we are, you know, bringing in the right talent and also complying with what we have to as a, you know, government employer, or non-government employer, but an employer.
Does anyone else want to add to that? Another question is about dealing with stress. Antonio?
Sure. So the question is, how do you personally deal with the stress of a law career? So being a lawyer is pretty stressful, I got to say. Before I went to law school, I used to work as a retail buyer at a department store. My job was to like pick out the socks that the department store was going to sell, and pick out the robes and the pants, and like approve ads for underwear that we were trying to sell. So I was very, at the time it felt kind of stressful because that was my first office job when I wasn't like working at a coffee shop or something, but that was, it felt kind of stressful, but it's pretty different than being a lawyer. Being a lawyer is so serious sometimes. It's like, you got these clients and they have these issues they want to talk about, and you got to give them advice and they're going to rely on it. So I found it to be much more stressful than other jobs I'd had in the past. And because it's more stressful, you know, managing a law career means managing your stress. And for me personally, exercise has been a big part of that. I love going running. I used to hate running. I go biking sometimes, but yeah, going out and exercising and getting regular exercise is a big part of managing my stress, and just sort of like thinking about stress as something that you have to manage along with the rest of your, you know, work and problems in life. It's just something you got to commit to. How am I going to do it? Doesn't have to be exercise, could be other things. You know, spending time with friends and family is also really important, but like, you got to think about that stress piece and actively do things to manage it. You can't just sort of like ignore it and hope that it's okay. So I would say for managing stress, you should, you know, sort of think about what are the things you can do to manage your stress that help you, and then really stick to them and do them on a regular basis. That's sort of how I've done it. I mean, I'm sure other people on this panel could chime in on it. And I guess the other piece is you just got to recognize that it is sort of a stressful career. There are less stressful jobs than being an attorney, but it is kind of a stressful path. So you got to take steps to take care of yourself and manage that stress.
Go ahead, Maribel.
Yeah, so I'd like to add to that. It is difficult to do, especially when you're starting out as a junior level attorney, but trying to set boundaries where you can, and really making sure that not only your supervisors and your colleagues respect those boundaries, but you respect those boundaries too. So if you tell yourself you're not going to answer an email after 11 p.m., don't open your phone after 11 p.m. and make that practice a habit. I think it's also important to communicate with your loved ones, whether it be your friends, your family, your significant other. You know, sometimes work does take up a lot of your time and attention, and that you still love them and care for them and you want to be there for them, but you need to find that balance. So managing those expectations. And I also highly, highly, highly advocate for therapy for everyone. There are some free options online if you're not able to physically go into an office, but just being able to talk about the stresses of your workday, of your professional life, of your personal life can be very beneficial for your mental health. So please do that. And if you have any questions about those things, feel free to ask any of us, but I'm also more than happy to talk about them.
Right.
Hi, I'll just add two things. The first is that, as James said, please pursue your hobbies. Like, being a lawyer is not the end and doesn't consume your personality. So for me, like, I used to dance for a dance company before, during law school and after. And I've maintained taking dance classes, like hip hop dance classes online during the pandemic. So, you know, like a lot of people have hobbies, so those don't end once you become a lawyer. So that's one way to relieve the stress. And also joining a board like this, like the FBANC board, where it's kind of like a family and you can talk to people about, you know, what you're going through at work. Just that sense of community also alleviates the stress when you know that everyone else is kind of going through the same thing and that you feel supported in your own practice. So, yeah.
I just want to add one more thing to the stress question. For me, what's stressful is not having enough time for my family. So I have a 2-year-old, he just turned 2 yesterday. And what stresses me out is I'm so busy working that I can't play with him. So I think thinking about what's really important in your life, what matters the most, because ultimately, you know, being a lawyer is great. I am very proud and I love being a lawyer, but at the end of the day, my focus is going to be on my family, right? So just thinking about the important things in your life can help with that stress aspect of it. You know, you have a typo in your brief, it's not the end of the world, but me missing out on my kids' childhood, to me, that's devastating. So there's that. There was also a question on law school being very expensive. How do you deal with the financial glass ceiling that prevents students from low-income families from pursuing a career in law? FBANC just started a scholarship that provides support to incoming or aspiring law students to support you in applying for law school and also taking LSAT classes. So that's one way that FBANC is trying to build that pipeline of attorneys. I'm sure there's other scholarships as well. Does anyone on the board know of other pre-law scholarships that may support pre-law students? I think the California Lawyers Association has one. So basically just seek out opportunities to apply for scholarships, right? Because I always tell people, don't say no to yourself. Applying, you know, takes time, but once you have that personal statement ready, once you have that resume ready, you can just keep applying. And sometimes there's some years when FBANC only gets, you know, 3 scholarships and we have 5 scholarships available and only 3 applicants, right? Some years we get 35. So, you know, some years are more competitive than others. There's another question on the legal profession being very elitist. Will?
Yes, the question was about the legal profession to be elitist and perpetuate a gatekeeper mentality when working directly with underserved clients. Now, obviously, this varies by practice area, but you know, getting your bar card, you know, really is what is most important. You know, certainly, you know, going to a prestigious law school can open a lot of doors and present opportunities to you, but it's really what you make of them. I personally went to Golden Gate Law School in San Francisco, and what I found for myself, being a criminal defense practitioner, is that the courtroom is really the great equalizer. When you step into the courtroom or you go into jury trial, you're not going to be hiding behind your you know, where you went to law school or your resume. What matters most is the work and the effort that you put in. Being an attorney is a grind. It takes a lot of work, and once you begin practicing, really your competence, really is what's gonna make the difference in your career. And so you have to put the work in. It doesn't matter where you went to law school. What matters most is the amount of effort that you put in, and make sure that you work. You're going to Golden Gate, obviously, to a certain extent, we felt like we had to work a little bit harder, and that's okay. And you just have to acknowledge it and just, do your best, and, things will work out.
Yeah, and going off of what Will just said, I agree. As a trial attorney, I'm a public defender. I mean, we have public defenders in general have this reputation overall of being, quote, public pretenders. And I'm like, no, it's not even like that at all. No. I graduated from GGU as well. Like Will said, the courtroom is the great equalizer. It's what you do, it's the work that you put into it. When I graduated from GGU, I mean, it's not the most prestigious law school, and I did feel like I had to work harder than other people. But so what? That work and that grind that you put into what you do translates to your work in the courtroom. When I was at GGU, I participated on the national trial team. So before I even, interned at public defender offices, I got some mock trial experience competing with the school. So that actually helped out with what I do now. And, it gave me baseline training for some trial skills so that when I have a jury trial and I'm ready to go, I'm actually ready to go. I know my evidence. I know what I have to do to zealously advocate for my clients. There is, coming from, a family that doesn't even know what a public defender is, there is that, mentality of elitism. And my family has constantly told me, oh, why don't you become a district attorney? Because, they don't see public defender as someone that is just as good as a district attorney, that it's somehow, you get promoted to a district attorney. It doesn't work that way. And I think it's just about educating people, letting them know what skills that you have, at least, from the public defender perspective, educating people on what you do and being a zealous advocate for your clients and doing what you love, no matter what. You're doing it to help people, and that's ultimately what it is. You're just helping people to the best of your ability.
I can also follow up on this question. So coming from a big law firm background, I can tell you that there is some truth that the law firm, that the profession can seem like elitist. However, what ultimately matters at the end of the day is results and hard work. And I can tell you personally, and from interactions with plenty of attorneys at the big law firm level, that some of the most successful and best attorneys are those that didn't necessarily come from the most prestigious schools. The ones that are willing to do the work and actually put in the hours. There's no substitute for that. You can come from the best pedigree school and have whatever clerkship, but at the end of the day, what people want to see and what clients want to see is results. And so as long as you get there, there's different roads about it. And I'll say this, that if you do have, come from a better school, that does make some opportunities more available, but it doesn't guarantee anything. On the other side, I've seen, colleagues and other attorneys that came from those schools that flamed out of big law very quickly, just because they realized, I don't want to be here working this many hours. And I'll also say this about big law: it's not made for everyone, nor should it be. But if you want that kind of career, again, it comes down to putting in the time, putting in the work, and getting the results. And if you're willing to do that, you can have those types of careers, notwithstanding, having a clerkship or what have you.
So that wraps up our Q&A portion for today. But that doesn't mean that this is your only opportunity to reach out to us. If you have additional questions, I really hope that you respond to our invitation to connect with us and allow us to support you, to mentor you. Our next session is at 11:45, but before we go on our break, I am so excited to introduce our keynote speaker, who is unfortunately not able to join us live today. Ruthe Catolico Ashley is the Executive Director Emeritus of California Law. It's a nonprofit that has been established to help with the pipeline of diverse students from high schools, community colleges, four-year institutions, and law schools into law or related careers. Ruthe is the first Filipina and second APA woman on the ABA board in its 138-year history. Ruthe is also a past NAPABA President, and she serves on FBANC's Advisory Board. Last year, we awarded Ruthe with our Trailblazer Award.
Father used to say when he would. Good morning. My name is Ruthe Catolico Ashley, and as my father used to say when he would call me from the playground, Ruthe Catolico, come here. And I would. And I remember hearing that voice so many times, and my mother, who used to also come to the playground when I was in elementary school and go, shh, shh, Ruthe, come here. Time to go home. And I, being the only Filipino on that playground, would turn and go meekly and humbly to my mother, a strong Filipino woman who had immigrated along with my father from the Philippines for the main purpose of having their children, their two daughters, gain a better education. I can hear my mother saying to me, Ruthe, get a good education. They cannot take that away from you. They can take everything else away, but not your good education. And being a good Filipino daughter, of course, I listened to her. No, I didn't. I was of her image. She came into the world, I think, fighting and speaking and being one of those strong Filipina mamas. And she passed all of those on to me. And I was not compliant. I was not obedient. I was stubborn. I was willful, and all the things that eventually brought me to this point in my life. I know I was a pain for my mother and father, that it was hard for them to raise me. But I know that their values and their culture and everything else that came from the culture that they came from in the Philippines helped me become the person I am today. I am delighted to be here talking to future lawyers, those of you who are thinking about becoming a lawyer, because at your age, I had no idea I could become a lawyer. At your age, I thought I had to become what most Asian American parents and what a lot of Filipino parents want their children to be, and that is to become a healthcare professional, mainly a doctor. But remember, my parents were not educated. My parents came to the Philippines, came to America from the Philippines with nothing but a third grade education, an eighth grade education, a will to work, excellent work ethics, and a desire to see their children attain the American dream. And in one generation, my mother, who could have been the CEO of a company with her smarts and her ability to organize and her ability to run things and make things happen, my mother, with her third grade education in one generation, had her dream fulfilled when her daughter became a lawyer. Now, mind me, that didn't happen right away. I had to take a few side roads. I had to become a teacher and a nurse, which I was for 15 years. And another interesting sidelight is the story of how Filipino nurses became so good and so popular, but that's for another time. But I became a nurse, and in midlife, I became a lawyer. Now, that's one thing I learned about becoming a lawyer in midlife, that it's never too old to dream. It's never too old to change course. And it's never too old to do something that your heart tells you to do. But I'm speaking to people who are very much in the beginning of their career, very much thinking about the law, and how fortunate and how lucky you are to do that. Because I didn't have those role models. I didn't have those people who looked like me when I became a lawyer. I became a lawyer at the age of 41, and when I graduated from law school, I looked around and I thought, who can I get as a mentor? Who can be a role model for me? Who can I find that looks like me, eats the same food that I ate at home, has the same kind of immigrant background, who would understand where I came from? I couldn't find anyone at that point in time. And what was so amazing was, as I was starting my career, I started as an intern at the district attorney's office in Sacramento. And I was in the elevator one day, and I looked, and there was another person in that elevator who looked like me. Amazingly, I said to her, wow, I think you and I are pretty unique here. We need to know each other. And there we met in that elevator. All these years later, 30 plus years later, this Filipina woman I met in the elevator is now the Chief Justice of the state of California, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Another lesson, as you start out in life, those friends that you make at the very beginning, when you're in college, when you're in law school, when you start your career, and you, including you, you're the ones that in 20 to 30 years will basically be running the world. When I think of young people, and I think of you as I'm speaking to you, I think of a group of people who change things, who makes things happen. When I was young, all the protests for the Vietnam War was going on. It wasn't the older generation of which I am part now. It wasn't even the middle-aged generation that was making change happen. It was the young people. So who I'm talking to you, who are listening to me now, you're the ones. You're the ones that have the power to change the world. You're the ones that have the passion. You're the ones that have the vision and the dream. You're the ones that have the energy to make things happen. Why am I so invested in having students like you think about law and think about law as a career? It's because in this profession, this is where change can happen. This is where you can be an advocate for people. This is where you can change laws, change people's minds, and really change the trajectory of the world. More than any profession, lawyers have the tools and the skills to think about where we are and what needs to happen, and then to make it happen. As students, I think you need to only learn and take away from this little talk of mine 3 things. Let me preface that with saying I used to be the Dean of Career Services at McGeorge School of Law, the law school that I graduated from. And as I talked to all the law students coming through, I shared this same information with them. You only need 3 things to be successful in anything you do. I hope you pick law. I hope you are in a law-related career when it comes to the time when you make those decisions. But whatever you do and wherever you go and however you use your law degree, because you don't just have to be a traditional lawyer. You can do just about anything with a law degree. These 3 things will help. Number 1, relationships. Relationships are the most important thing that you need to remember about. Relationships that you make as law students, with your colleagues, with your classmates, with your professors, with your teachers. Relationships that you build as you work as a volunteer or in a paid position. Anyone that you meet becomes a friend, can become a relationship. Take care of those relationships. Number 2, experience. You have to have experience, whether it's working at a McDonald's, learning a really good, strong work ethic, or working as an intern, or working as a retail clerk. All of those jobs give you a great experience. When somebody wants to hire for a job, they look at what you've done. They look at if you've taken the lowest job and done a good job at it. They look at how you've gotten along with other people. They talk to other people. So experience, whether paid or whether volunteer, whether with a family member or with an employer. Experience number 2. Next, timing. If you have the relationships and you have the experience, when the job opens up and you can walk through that door and make things happen. Remember, as you move through your life, as you move through your career, don't ever give up on your dreams. Don't ever think that you can't make things happen. And just because you're young, you're in the prime spot to change the world. And remember these 3 things: relationships, experience, and timing. And you will reap the most out of your life and out of your career if you take those 3 things into account. God bless you. We are here to help you. Everyone at FBANC is here to help you and to help make your career and your life the best that it can be.
Thank you so much to Ruthe Ashley. She's amazing. We will see you back at 11:45. We have special remarks by Judge Reyes. See you soon.